All right, welcome everybody. Today we're going over our artificial intelligence tools. This is going to be a training webinar. We're going to make it interactive, so pour in the questions whenever you have them. I'll try to stop every few slides and answer those. It's not going to be me going through 100 PowerPoint slides and you listening for an hour or two. It's going to be me going over a few slides and then demoing one of our AI tools. You asking questions as I cover some concepts related to AI, and then me sharing another example of an AI tool. We're going to go back and forth. We're going to do polls and see some live feedback about how you are all using AI and what you want me to cover today. And I'm going to show you some of the new tools that we've released and improved just this past week. And what's really exciting is just the depth of use we're getting on AI tools across the whole community. We have centimillionaires and billionaires that tell us they use our tools every day, every week, and they have let one person go from their team because now AI can do what they're doing and put that money towards a different type of person on their team that's far more effective. So we know the tools work and are working well for many people, and that's really exciting. And yes, this is being recorded, so we're happy to send you the recording if you missed some of it. Try to keep it almost exactly at 2 hours. We know some of you will just be staying for 1 hour, but I promise you we'll keep it fast moving and make it worth your while if you can stick with us the entire time. We should have a good time here together. So I'm going to share my screen now and just go through a couple of intro slides to add some context for the day, because I think without context, none of this really means anything. And those of you who are new to our community might be, just a little bit new to getting to know how we operate, what we prioritize, and what the whole point of our AI tool set is. So to start with, our AI tools did not exist 14 months ago. I've been studying AI. We tested out 100 different tools for an AI workshop in January 2025. Almost all of them did not work at all, were beta mode, and you had to train them a whole bunch to get them to half work. They weren't built just for us, which means founders, investors, people building a platform or raising capital or running a fund or syndicating deals. If you're an allocator or you're raising capital or you're a founder looking to grow, our tools are for you. Most tools are not dialed in for you, though. They're for consumers. So we have the number one AI tool set for this niche. It's been used now in the last 13 months, 21,640 times. So we're really proud of that because it shows that people are actually coming back to the tools over and over and over again, which I hope you will as well. So we're going to go through how they work and some context around this. Mike sent me this email before our annual 800-person Super Summit that we host each year. We do 30 live events a year, and our biggest one is the Super Summit. And Mike just sent me this random email or shared the best types of testimonials you can get. And he said, your AI tools are literally 10x times better than anything else that Copilot or Grok or Google has built for me because they're so dialed into what I need. So that was awesome to hear, that they're not just 20% more effective or 100% more. In his mind, they were, 10x more, 1,000% more effective. Michael Scott, who's pictured here, is probably on the webinar here today. He's going to be in Beverly Hills at our Beverly Hills Investor Summit, March 4th and 5th coming up. He entered our club, had never raised capital, raised $12 million, and then sold the company 3.5 years later for over $100 million. And he came to one of our AI workshops, pictured here, and he was explaining to the room, and he gave a 10-minute talk, that having these AI tools is an extreme unfair advantage. And it's like plugging your business into capital. You can grow it quicker. Plug your business into AI, and it's like plugging into electricity, and things can grow much, much bigger. We're going to get into many reasons of why that is and how it is and make it super practical. So it's not just hype of like, oh yeah, one day AI is going to be smarter than the smartest PhD in physics. It's like, this is what you can do today with the tools. They're not beta mode. They work. And we'll show you how they do in real time. So that's what we're going to cover. Why you want to study it. We're going to get over several slides on that. But just imagine, what if you did harness the power of AI plus everything your team can do and everything you've learned up to this point, what you could get done per day, how much more thorough you could be, how much more you could de-risk decisions and partnerships, et cetera. So that's really the point of today. So we call our platform Investor SuperIntelligence. For our core charter members, we have 40 ready-to-use AI tools. You do not need to train these tools. They're pre-trained just for our industry and people just like you. And so these are some of our most popular out of the 40 plus core tools. The only one that's shown here that's not part of the core set is Investor Pipeline Builder. That's reserved just for our VIP and our verified members. So we have, as of this morning, 58 tools in total. Some of them have been revised multiple times. They're built on over 100 million data points, and a lot of it is built on proprietary data that we've gathered while running our investor club for the last 19 years. We've hosted 300 events during that time. So we appreciate you joining us here today, and I think it's going to be more interesting for everybody if we kind of know a bit on who's here with us today. So I'm going to try this new Zoom plugin, and we've been experimenting with a lot of Zoom plugins, by the way. And if any of you want feedback after this with what's working, what's not, etc., this one's called Stream Alive. So we'll see if this one cooperates with us, and we're going to do a little poll here and just see where all of you are coming from, what you want to focus on today, etc. All right, here we go. Share. Okay, so to answer the poll that you're going to see popping up on your screen, all you do is go to the chat and type in your number for the response. So how often do you use artificial intelligence? Multiple times per day, put in 1. Multiple times per week, put in 2. Multiple times per month, 3. 4, never. 5, AI is evil, and I don't even know why I'm on this webinar. So let's see where everyone's at, because I want to go faster over things that are going to bore people to death if you're using AI multiple times per day. Okay, so we've got lots of responses pouring in now. Most of you are using it multiple times per day. The rest of the balance of you are mostly using it multiple times per week, and there's really only a handful that are using it multiple times per month. And yeah, I'm glad that we got 1 or 2 that's never, a couple that's never. Great, that's helpful. Let's go to the next one here. What are 2 words, 1 or 2 words of what you want me to focus on today? Because then I can just emphasize that, maybe go quicker over things that people don't care about quite as much. Put that into chat just in 1 or 2 keywords. And then what it's going to do is group together the most common keywords, and we'll see what the theme is here today on what you want to cover. Due diligence. One of our most popular AI tools is on due diligence. So we're definitely going to cover that. 1-minute video. Awesome. Definitely cover that. Prompts, raising capital, investor targets. I'll let these flow in for another 5 seconds here. We'll just see what the theme is. Capital raising and capital raise. Obviously, we have some capital raisers here. Many times we have founders that are acquiring other platforms or assets or fund managers that are here. Awesome. That's super helpful. So we'll go over some case studies to see that on here as well, and definitely automation and prompts and investor targets. Cool. Besides Investor SuperIntelligence, which is the name of our tool set, do you use a specialized AI agent built just for investors and capital raisers and founders? No would mean you use like ChatGPT and Grok. Yes means you have like a very specialized tool just for investors and capital raisers and founders. Cool. 86%, 90% of you, about 90% are saying, no, we did not use a specialized tool. And that is the whole point of this webinar, is just to show you what's possible. You could watch this webinar, get a lot of great ideas, and then just be sharper on using generic tools in a more dialed in way. But we hope to show you that even though a lot of people join our investor club to come to the 30 events a year, the AI tools alone are more than worth the membership. And it's just one of the many things we have included here. All right, the last question here. What is your number 1 challenge when it comes to AI? What's frustrating? What's the bottleneck? What's annoying about it, or a friction point? And if you can just type in 1 or 2 keywords for that, then we will address that today as well. Accuracy. That's a good one. By some measures, AI is improving by 27x a year. I would hope it's at least improving 2x a year if some people claim 27x, right? Depends how you measure stuff. You can get statistics to tell you anything you want, really. Bad data, that's related to accuracy, incorrect answers, better prompts. We're going to go over that in great depth today. So many tools. Yeah, there's over 100,000 AI companies out there. Some of them have multiple tools like us, right? Awesome. Cool. Well, I don't know about all of you, but that was definitely helpful for me to go over and see here. So we are going to attempt to exit that tool. There we go. All right. So that's helpful. We'll make sure and emphasize some of the points that came up there in the survey. Bad data, prompting, agents, automations, incorrect answers, capital raising. These are all things that came up multiple times in some of those answers. I'm going to cover a couple of slides here, and then we'll get to a couple of the chats and questions that came up. But these are some of our most popular tools here. And we have of our 300 events hosted, we've hosted probably 200 or 215 workshops where it's like an investor workshop, a capital raising workshop, an AI workshop. And we teach a lot of things at these workshops. But what we've done here is really codified a lot of what we've learned over 19 years running our investor club, and put them into these tools. And that way you are able to, you can still learn the concepts. It's always best if you learn it yourself, but then also apply it very quickly and learn it by applying. A lot of us are doers, right? We learn by doing things. And, I saw a quote by Mark Cuban. He said there'll be two types of people with AI: people that use it to learn everything they can, and other people that use it so they don't have to learn anything. And we'll get over that. We'll go over that as well in just a second here. These are the 3 membership levels for the Family Office Club. Just to make it clear, our 40 core AI tools are included in charter membership. You may have used to hearing us say our 30 core tools, but the tool set has grown. The core tools are still part of charter. VIP and verified, you get the advanced investor data tools that allow you to find investor leads. We're upgrading how those work this week, actually. And then there's one AI tool just for verified members, because you get a Decamillionaire Trail Guide worksheet you complete when you become a verified member, and you also get a Decamillionaire Sherpa AI companion tool that works with that trail guide. And it's basically how to build your balance sheet by $10 million and build your net worth by that much. And the verified membership includes speaking on stage, exhibit tables, a 1-minute pitch video, and a customized AI tool. We'll dial in one of our tools just for you. So those are the 3 levels in case you want to work with us on a deeper level. Just want to make that clear up front, because lots of times people ask how they can actually get access to all of these tools. So I hope that is clear, but submit your questions as we go. So this is our family values we have posted above our kitchen table, in our family room, in our kitchen, and then here we have our family values on the wall right behind me. This is basically what we reward and punish our kids based on. It is what I believe is important to be successful. I happen to work in the family office space, so my opinion is these are the values that make you successful in the family office space, honestly. And so this is important, and every company should have company values. And it's kind of lame to even say that, because everyone knows that. It helps everyone stay aligned. It helps you make decisions. But very few families, even those worth hundreds of millions of dollars, have family values established, formalized, and on their wall at home. Last night, I was on a 2-hour board meeting with a single family office I helped create for a centimillionaire. They have me on retainer to help them run and formalize their family office and source deals. They've allocated 7-figure checks into the Family Office Club through deals they've sourced at our live events many times now, probably half a dozen deals done. And this is the exact topic we're talking about, is how to get this dialed in. So partially for them and partially for you, I created this family values plaque creator tool. This will be the first tool that I wanted to show you. And I just want to show you that this exists and it's in the platform and it's available. My team has been provided the link to that tool. So if you're a member, just let Jennifer know and we'll get you the direct link to that tool, because in the last 24 hours, we created it. And what it will do is help you refine and define your core values based on your wealth creation story, who you are, your background, what you prioritize, where you want to put your energy, who you want to grow into in the future, what your family is all about. And you can record audio notes about that, et cetera. And it will help you refine it down to values that mean a lot to you, without having too few or too many values based on how most families do it. And then there's a link to the Etsy provider who created this metal-backed plaque you see on the wall behind me, just because they did a great job. They sent it out quickly. It looks very professional. It's like a glossy on metal-backed frame you can hang on your wall. So there's no excuse not to have your family values formalized now. We've told everyone in our club they should have family values, and I'm sure most people still do not have this done and don't have it on their wall behind them. So that's one thing that's unique about our investor club. I want to see one question here. Yes, my name is Richard C. Wilson. I'm the founder of Family Office Club. I should have said that at the very beginning. Sorry about that. But a lot of people do not have these formalized, and they really should, right? And so we just want to encourage you to put things into place, and we use our AI tools to really get things moving and make it easy to get into place. Let me fix one thing here. Right. Now, one thing we want to go over as well here is just where our events are. We are 30 times a year in New York, Fort Lauderdale, Los Angeles, and Dallas. We're doing our first Palo Alto event this year, but otherwise we're in these four cities multiple times per quarter. So if you're anywhere in the country close to these locations, you could easily come in person. We have members from Singapore, Dubai, Hong Kong, India, South America, London, etc. If you want to join and watch virtually and come to one or two or four events a year, you definitely can. You can still use all our AI tools. You can use our 1,250 videos you can stream at any time from our portal. But that's where our live events are. We have 18.5 million people that either are in our social media communities or our followers, and I'll show how those get broken down in a second. That's important to know because we get a lot of our data from all of the conversations with family offices. The insights come from there. That's how we get great interviewees for our podcast or YouTube channel, for Instagram, etc. And that's why everything keeps on growing because of the size of the network. And I think just the intent to add the long-term value. So what we're really doing is trying to build one of the top investor clubs in the world. And in terms of reach, we are for sure the largest because the next largest investor club, I think, has 2 million person reach. And we'll hit 20 million this year without doing any advertising. It'll organically grow from 18.5 to about 20 million this year. So this is the breakdown. 15.5 million of the followers are from LinkedIn. And so that's our biggest follower area. Most people that have millions of followers, it's Instagram or YouTube or X or TikTok or something, and we're really big on LinkedIn. So our largest group on LinkedIn is 1.8 million members, to give you an idea. And we run more groups on LinkedIn and have more members in our groups on LinkedIn than any other organization. So I covered a lot of these stats. I won't bore you with that. Our main website is familyoffices.com, but you've probably been there to register for this webinar. A couple of cool stats. One is that some people say that family offices only manage $3 trillion. Others say 14 trillion. It's a lot of $1 trillion and it's growing basically, right? And it's either as big or bigger than private equity and venture capital combined. But most people aren't tapping into the family office space. And there's family offices in every major city. One family office can change your entire life, change your entire business, or maybe it already has, and that's why you're here, right? So what we do is interview people like Joe Williams, founder of Keller Williams, who's pictured here on the screen, and others, and really document what they did to become super successful. And basically, we look at it as we have two people in the room. We have investors who are super founders, and then we have founders that are sometimes raising capital or building a platform. And we're just documenting what the super founders did to get there to help the founders. So while you may meet investors at our events for sure, we also help you with growth strategies, acquiring strategic choke points, how to structure a deal, how to form a joint venture, how to work with publicly traded companies, how to have more extreme focus, how to make better use of your time and manage your time like somebody worth $10 million or $100 million, et cetera. And all of that's really important to being successful. So we're doing this monthly webinar series. We're doing hot seats. We're doing AI training webinars. You can learn more about that at familyoffices.com/webinars. And one of the last footnotes for today is that we have our Beverly Hills Summit coming up, and we're having a centimillionaire that sold 3 companies there. We have Marcus, who raised $4 billion from Blackstone, went public, and then raised another $1 billion from Blackstone, doing a fireside chat interview with him as well. We have Tim that does $1 billion a year in revenue in the commodity space. We have multiple second-gen single-family offices here, but also a high-tech $1 billion-plus family office. A couple of business owners who are both doing 30 million plus a year in revenue, and the heads of 5 different investor clubs. We also have a whole panel of pro athlete, NBA, NFL athletes, angel investors, private investors, $1 billion-plus family offices. We have 75 speakers on stage. So it's going to be an awesome event. You definitely want to be there in person. Before we go over this next tool, I just want to see if there's any critical questions or anything I skipped over too quickly. A private lending tool will be really helpful, Leah. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate that. How important to family office club members is it up to a person to be verified? So you might be asking other members, Stephen, you might not be asking me. But what Steve is referring to is if you become a verified member, then we put a blue check mark next to your name on the name badge after we've done a background check. If we do a background check, which most people won't sign up for if they've got a checkered past with a lot of crazy things that has happened, whether their fault or not. But if the background check comes back and there's fraud, Ponzi scheme banned from the financial industry, et cetera, then we're not going to verify you as a member. And it helps us avoid some bad actors. And when you walk around at the event, if there's a blue check mark, yes, somebody could have faked there's someone they're not, but it means it's much less likely that they're not who they say they are. And it is less likely, but not for sure, that they're not a fraud. And the whole point is to show this is one of our higher quality members. Doesn't mean you should for sure invest in what they're doing. Doesn't mean there's no risk, of course. But that is what the verified membership is all about. And that's why we've dumped so many benefits into it, because it's just good for our organization. So we made it like 4x, like a 4x better deal doing verified than VIP or charter membership, et cetera. Palo Alto, we're securing that event date in September. Siva, we've gotten a agreement verbally. We're having them put that agreement in writing so we can announce the date that's going to be in September for the Palo Alto event. And Andrea, we have considered Las Vegas. I've spoken at many events there. Most of the time when I go to a Las Vegas venue, I choke on smoke and, have to jump over people on the sidewalk while going for a morning jog. So it's not my favorite place to go to for events personally. And we really try to get to big cities that have a high concentration of family offices. So even Chicago and Toronto struggle to have as many family offices as New York, LA, Dallas, and Fort Lauderdale. So I considered moving to Vegas at one point in Nevada. I think it's actually a good place for business, but in terms of like event reputation, I know some people just avoid it because of the reasons I explained. So one tool I want to show off is the one-line tool. So when I showed on the last PowerPoint slide screen the people who are speaking on stage at our next event, you can see there's some really heavy hitters, right? Centimillionaires, decamillionaires. We interviewed billionaires on stage, often, et cetera. And if you're doing that, then you're reaching out to people and you're trying to connect with people that are literally the busiest people on planet Earth. One of my clients has 135 LLCs, right? So imagine how many K1s they get, right? Imagine how many different things they have coming at them every day, from all of their tax entities, from all their employees, et cetera. Some of our speakers on stage have literally over 2,000 employees. So this was the family values plaque creation tool. So all you do is record an audio note, upload your history, et cetera, and it will help you create that. So I close that one out. The other tool I wanted to show you here for our events is this one-liner pitch tool. This is so critical. Like your pitch deck does not matter if you can't get someone's attention to open your pitch deck, right? It's like, it almost doesn't even matter that you bothered to come to an event past all the learning you'll get, which is like hopefully a 10x, your time of being there. But it doesn't matter in terms of networking if you can't clearly say in a compelling way how you're different than the other 400 people in the room in a way that grabs their attention. That's not about you, that's about them. That's not best in class, world class. Like you have to think about the most skeptical, cynical, busiest person on planet Earth. How do you de-risk their time in a sentence? And a bad example is someone saying they're best in class with like the greatest team with absolute return. A good example is one of our members, Ahmed, says he was in the hard money lending space. He said, we've done 485 hard money lending deals over 13 years. We've lost $0 of investor capital, and we have served 131 investors to date. Unless he just made that all up, he didn't start this like just recently. He's got a track record, and it's interesting, right? If you want, hard money loan investments, right? If you want a credit investment, but if you don't, then you save your time versus like going through like a whole 3-minute spiel on what you do. And I do this and I do this, but I also do this other thing. It needs to be pre-thought out. And so we used to teach, hey, there's like 20 things you can do to make an awesome one-liner. But instead, now you just upload your pitch deck and you can get feedback on the one-liner. So I'm going to show you an example here. I uploaded a pitch deck and I said, review my pitch deck and create 7 one-line pitches from it. And that's prompt number 1 right here. So you just click on prompt number 1, it reviews the pitch deck, and it pumps out the 7 one-liners. And so it pulls out some facts from your pitch deck. It says, here are 7 one-line pitches of what you do. It has credible numbers included. It's clear, does its best job on being compelling, all within a 25 criteria framework analyzing your whole pitch deck within just 5 seconds. Then it basically interprets and says, here are different things to think about these one-liners I created. And you can see they're numbered here, 1 through 7, right? And so down below, what I'm saying is I like options 4 and 7. Create 7 more like that. It then creates 7 more options, just like number 4 and 7. And I'm not going to read them all off to you, but they got more dialed in based on what feedback I asked for. I then said, I like number 6, but I want it to be more credible, more assertive and confident sounding, and mention that we've ran our investor club for 19 years and we have 18.5 million people in our network. Then it creates 7 more one-liners like that. Once you're happy with it, you can say, great, I like number 7. Now write my 1-minute pitch video script. And this was something that came up in that word bubble a couple minutes ago. One of the top 3 most important things for you to have is a 1-minute video from your founder, clearly explaining in an articulate way what you do that's different than other people that gets someone to lean forward. Many times, as soon as you meet someone, you're like, oh, I like this person. They're just like me. Or like, oh, they're really interesting. Or I've never heard of someone that does that before. Other times you talk to someone and they're so high pressure or stressed out or making you stressed out or intense that you're just like, whoa, like I'm ready for this conversation to end. And it's only been half a sentence, you know? And that sounds harsh, but we've all been there before. And then there's a lot in the middle, right? So what you want to do is have a great one-liner. And Chip Perkins has raised $7 billion. He spoke at our last Capital Raiser boot camp. And he said after 40 years of doing this and raising $7 billion, he has found that you really have 30 seconds or less to get their attention, to have a little 3-minute conversation, to at some point have an in-person or a Zoom or phone call based 30-minute conversation. That's the formula after 40 years of doing this. And so you don't get there very easily unless you're doing something unique, have a one-liner and have a 1-minute video. So how do you create a 1-minute video? Well, it's not that hard. If you're a verified member, we'll do it for you, but it's not that hard for anyone really. You get your one-liner dialed in using this tool. Then you say, write my 1-minute pitch script, based on my webinar that I uploaded or based on my pitch deck I uploaded or all the above. And then it will provide now, what it's providing is 7 different 1-minute scripts. So that one of them will likely fit what sounds natural to you. So you can see here, it's written out 7 scripts. And you can imagine with every result that we show today, you can say, number 6 sounds most like me, but I would really mention X, Y, and Z. I always bring that up when talking to investors or partners. Rewrite it and give me 7 more options, but make sure and mention these credible points and start with this and don't say that within any of the options. That one part is not credible and it's not something we like to talk about. That will get you not only your one-liner, but also your 1-minute script to record. And that would record that with your iPhone or HD webcam and then show visuals of your manufacturing floor, of your team, of your devices, of your equipment, of your oil rigs, whatever it is that you're working on, and make it real and tangible. So it's not just you talking. Just like today, it's not just me talking. I'm showing you a PowerPoint. I'm showing you an AI tool. I'm showing you a statistic. I'm taking a survey of everybody on here. You have to make videos dynamic or nobody will pay attention and you'll lose everyone. And the shorter the video and the shorter your one-liner, the more you can be sure that the busiest people on planet Earth are going to consume 100% of it. If you write a 900-page book, your own spouse won't read that book. If you write a 90-page book, much easier to convince somebody, right? Same with a 90-page description of what you're doing versus a 9-word description of what you're doing. The more high value the person, the less long-winded you have to be. So I hope that makes sense. That is the first tool, the second tool, I guess, because the family values tool, but that's the one-liner scripting tool. Super powerful and required really if you want to make maximum progress per day. And I think that it's just good communication, and family offices tell us all of the time, this is how they want people to communicate with them. Some of them won't even look at a deal unless someone has a one-liner, or a one-pager. And yes, we're recording this video, so we'll do a copy of it if you'd like one. All right. Now, disclaimer, always use a real attorney, use a real forensic accountant, use a real, lawyer for anything of any substance at all or anything you're going to say or do publicly. These are all just examples. I don't know if you live in Singapore and you're a venture capital startup, or if you're in London and you're doing crowdfunding, right? I don't know that. And I'm not your advisor or your tax attorney or your consultant. It's just an informational webinar. So always conduct due diligence before moving forward on stuff and use real professionals before investing money. This image is what helped us go from 7,000 followers on Instagram to 500,000 in the last quarter. And it isn't the image so much as the thoughts that went with it. We basically said, and people resonated with this greatly, I guess, the more that you listen to most people, the more your net worth goes down. The more you listen and learn only from billionaires and centimillionaires, the more you grow your net worth and become successful. And so I believe in that. Inputs equal outputs, right? That's true for AI tools. If you feed garbage into AI tools and you load up your AI tools like GPT and Gemini and all these tools, they try to lean on the most credible information, but all of them are trained on podcast information, Wikipedia information, Reddit threads. Some of that stuff's accurate, some of it is not, and it's diluted by millions of people, and we don't know who they are. It could be a 17-year-old kid from Guam. It could be like a 65-year-old PhD from New York City. We don't know many times, right? But it sucks in all that information and then spits out answers to you. If you change the inputs into your brain and you change who you're around, it's going to change your outputs. That's the whole point of Family Office Club, is to be in very close proximity and absorb the mental models, strategies, optimistic mindset, high velocity actions of the most successful people in the game of capitalism. That is the real core value of Family Office Club that we have cooked into all of these AI tools. And so it took me 12 years, but I bought billionaires.com. It was from using the smart deal structures that we train and share here within our club. And I bought that with 4 other investor friends of mine. And we're making it into the number one source of billionaire mental models and strategies. So on billionaires.com, I'm interviewing 100 billionaires. I'm reading all 250 books authored by billionaires. And we're right about halfway done with that whole process, but it's already, I think, one of the deepest strategy resources in the niche. And so here is yet another tool, Billionaire Collective Intelligence. So what we did here is take 1,036 public talks given by billionaires, combine that with 47 interviews that I've conducted with billionaires myself on stage and over Zoom, et cetera, including Mark Cuban and Tim Draper and Jeff Hoffman and Tony Robbins. Grant Cardone has come and spoken 3 times at our events, and a whole bunch of billionaires that you've probably never heard of. And what we've done is created an AI tool. And this AI tool allows you to basically consult with the collective intelligence of what billionaires have said publicly, and some that's not public through our exclusive data. And this is the first time ever in the history of mankind that you're able to think of a question, ask for advice from these folks in aggregate, and then get responses that pull insights from their exact quotes and reference the exact quote the insight came from. So you can see if you agree with like what was said or not, right? So this is the tool, Billionaire Collective Intelligence. And in case anyone wants to play around with that tool, I'm cool sharing the link to this one just right here in the chat, just so you have one to play around with as I'm talking here if you want to. And you can ask it anything you want to, and you can save that link. Like on the right here, when you go to GPTs, or when you have this loaded up, you just go to these 3 dots here on the left, and you can left click on that, and then you can pin it to your sidebar or hide it from the sidebar. And one thing to note about GPT is that, in OpenAI, is that if you have the free version, it has like an average IQ. And I really look at this as you get to choose. You can pay $20 a month, and you can have it be above average IQ, or you can have it be a genius level and pay a couple $100s a month. So you really get to choose how smart you want your AI to be. And it's not that expensive. So here's what I typed in to Billionaire Collective Intelligence. I'm trying to think big, but I'm small right now at $2 million a year in revenue. How do I scale massively when my industry is so competitive? I try to be ahead of the herd, but it seems like there's ultra wealthy herd above the normal herd that makes life harder, it seems. How do I break out of thinking like everyone else, jump way ahead, and build something before anyone else sees it coming when I'm not as connected or in as many powerful rooms? Help me come up with 7 strategies to do this. And then what it will do is give you advice and then tell you exactly what the quote was, tell you the quote, and then apply it to your exact situation. The more context you give any of these tools on who you are, what you're doing, what your business plan is, the better answers you'll get. On any of these tools, I'll zoom in a little bit so it's easy to see here. You can go down to this microphone button at the bottom, which I do most often. I like this mode the best. I left click on that on my phone. All these AI tools work on your phone or computer. Many times I use it on my phone, and I left click on that when I'm out for a walk, and I'll talk to it for 4 minutes straight, giving it all this context on all the different things I'm considering related to one decision. And then with all that context, then it will pull and give you feedback from the collective intelligence of billionaires. You can also go into talk mode and use voice mode. And what you do here is you click that to activate it. You talk and then don't click it again. That's a common mistake. Leave it open. It'll think for a second and then talk back to you, and you can have a conversation with the collective intelligence of billionaires. So I'm not going to read out the answers to a lot of these results, because if you care about this, you could just take what I just typed and see the results and read it on your own time. I want to keep things moving and not put ADD founder types on here to sleep. But so basically, I'm also saying, what are 10 ways I can be more high velocity and get more done every day? And then I say right here, and then they respond and say, here's 10 ways to be more high velocity and get more done. So I just think this is like amazing and probably more valuable than any coach you could hire or any mentor, because you literally get mentored from billionaires without bothering the billionaire, right? And so it's just, to me, it's like amazing. And it's one of our most popular tools, and it's one of them that we keep on improving over time. If you haven't used it in the last 2 months, we've improved that one recently, and I think you'll enjoy the more in-depth answers. And just don't forget that when using that tool, you can also cast a vote and have billionaires only from the tech industry vote on something, or only billionaires from 2 different industries related to your business vote on it. So you're getting highly focused opinions, maybe from the people you care about most, right? Let me see if there's any questions real quick before I just go blasting through some more slides and examples. Let's see here. Let me know if you're able to access the Billionaire Collective Intelligence tool. I think what I did is I grabbed the shared tool instead of the shared conversation instead of the tool link. So let me grab the actual tool link for you. Let's see here. Merrick was able to access it. Amir was able to access it. Interesting that Rita was not, and Opiyami was not either. So that's interesting. But yeah, I'm glad it's working for some of you. Great. At some point today, there'll be something that I send you guys or show here, and it's going to break on me when you're bringing up 50 things at once, of course. But if there's any other questions as we go here, let me know. And I appreciate the feedback in real time. I'm going to share PowerPoint slide again and provide just a little bit more context on how to think about AI and how to leverage it. And I think these are some of the most important insights of the day. So make sure you do not miss these next couple of ideas. Okay, so Tony Robbins, when I interviewed him for billionaires.com, he said one of the top 5 things that turned him into a billionaire was power proximity. He made $400 million off of one deal by being around the right people. This is what I was talking about controlling your inputs to get better outputs. Like if you hang out with decamillionaires and centimillionaires, it's scientifically proven you're more likely to become a decamillionaire or billionaire. If you only listen to podcasts, only read books, only listen to interviews, use AI tools to get advice, etc., and go to like the Beverly Hills event coming up, 75 people on stage, 90+% of them are decamillionaires and centimillionaires. I don't know of another room you can be in globally besides the Davos World Economic Forum or a Silicon Valley nerd fest of billionaires where it's going to be that percentage of decamillionaires and billionaires on stage, and centimillionaires, I mean. So I hope you can come to that event. Robert Cialdini has proven you're 16 times as likely to close a deal if you meet in person. If you're a member of ours, you're probably tired of seeing this slide, but I just feel like it's such a crazy statistic that we need to keep on mentioning that. Here's a couple of our members meeting in person here, right? Someone can be dressed sharp, have a nice one-liner, but you don't really know who they are quite yet, right? You have to do your full due diligence on them. And so that's why we created Instant Partner Insights. And ask yourself, what is the cost of flying across the country and meeting with someone for a couple of hours that was a total waste of your time? What is the cost of partnering with the wrong person or investing $250,000 with the wrong co-GP investment fund manager, right? One of our investor friends had syndicated a couple deals, trusted the wrong partners, and they've lost tens of millions of dollars of their clients' money. Right. So the cost can be quite high, right? It can be, we have another one. I heard from another person that came into our office about a decade ago. He got out of jail after 7 years because his partner had committed wire fraud. He didn't know it, but the court found him guilty because he was named on the bank account and he should have known and he should have been aware of what's going on. So they held him responsible. That's scary stuff, right? And so that's why we created Instant Partner Insights. And I'm going to share real quick what this does, and then we're going to jump right back on a couple of other context slides. So Instant Partner Insights is a tool that allows you to de-risk figuring out who you want to work with, and just do an upfront credibility check. It's not a background check. You should for sure do a background check before you sign legal documents, invest money, partner with someone, etc. And what you do is you say, you check prompt number one right here. And then you say, I basically want to do a credibility check on this person. You have to get their consent in doing so because you're scanning everything on social media, everything publicly on them. And before you partner with someone, you probably should always search for 20 keyword terms related to their name, right? Like John Smith Ponzi scheme, John Smith ban, John Smith conviction, John Smith prison sentence, whatever, right? Like 20 different keywords. So what we did is we typed all of that in here, and AI is doing that heavy lifting for you. It's looking at their publications, it's looking at their social media trends, it's looking at potential hate speech, it's looking at red flagged items, it's looking at a credibility assessment, it's looking at their overall reputation and whether they're associated with anything potentially bad. Bank of America once told me there's 6,000 Richard C. Wilsons just in America. So it might get the wrong person if you don't give it enough information. So the more you can provide a link to their LinkedIn profile, their name, their company name, what state, city they live in, the less likely it is to make a mistake. But don't go making any huge decisions based off of this. Use this to de-risk your time and maybe ask questions in a polite way because it may not be them. And the tool may be confusing them for another person with a very similar name, right? You can't use this for housing decisions or employment decisions. This is for vetting business partners or investment partners. And so what you see here is you have to agree to these terms and say, yes, I've documented consent. This is a report running on myself. And it says, if you have all this stuff, you're more likely to find the right person. And then what's happening down below is it starts to analyze all of this information here. And so it's basically creating a credibility report. So I would encourage you to use it for yourself, for partners on your team to see what people would find if they ran it on you. And then I would also look for how to use it for anyone that you're about to form a joint venture with or invest 5-10 hours of your time with. Why not have the tool run it for 30 seconds, right? That could save you the biggest waste of time of the entire year, just de-risking things and asking a few questions before you dive in deep and meet with somebody for a long period of time. If there are any questions on that, since the demo didn't pull up immediately there, let me know. Here's a picture of one of our ballrooms for one of our investor summits. This is like an average sized ballroom, 300 to 500 people. We have as many as 800 people attend our events, but there's people in exhibit booths outside. There's people networking. There's people in the room. And then usually 75 to 125 speakers on stage. This is one of the networking halls in Florida at our annual events. You can see the exhibit table set up there, somebody demoing their tech device. And we keep the events really fast moving. This is Kevin Harrington, Shark from Shark Tank. Helped him put together his family office. We've closed a couple transactions with him in the club. And the point of showing these pictures is imagine you went to all of our events the last 19 years, which I'm the only person that has, and you listened to everybody, took a lot of notes and memorized everything that they were saying. And then you could consult with it to really make wise decisions. Like, I hope I've retained 5% of it so I can be wiser, but there's no way for the human brain to retain everything, right? And sometimes you miss something. You go out for a phone call, or like I bring my daughters to my events with us and bringing my 11-year-old to my next event. Maya is coming to the Beverly Hills event, for example. So she may need to run outside because she wants to get a picture with one of the NFL players, and I missed part of a talk, right? So that's why we have this tool, which is called Investor Advantage. And this tool allows you to consult with the collective intelligence of the 1,400 investors that have spoken on stage at our events. And so that is to make sharper decisions, be smarter about what you're trying to get done, and be more well-rounded in your thinking. And every year, well, really every month, AI models are getting sharper. Their context windows are getting larger. They're getting better at analyzing in-depth data and providing better output. And we're improving our AI tools every month. And so the responses you get from this are increasingly helpful. No, they're not perfect. Yes, AI makes mistakes, but humans do too, right? So here I'm just saying I'm looking at acquiring other businesses in my industry, but I'm only doing $1 million a year in revenue right now. Should I wait till I'm larger, or should I start this now on a small level? If I sat down for coffee with 100 investors from Family Office Club, what insights and advice would they give me? And then you push enter, and you can see it start analyzing the 4 million data points behind this tool, and then it's going to start spitting out a response. And the main point here is just to open up your mind to possibilities, right? They might say something in a way they never thought of. Or like Ray Dalio says, if you're not sure whether to do A or B, see if there's a way to get as much of A as you can and still structure some of B in while protecting your downside. And so those are the types of responses you may get through a tool like this. But you can go into talk mode, you can record and dictate something, you can upload 15 files, your pitch deck, a webinar you did, you can get feedback, you could practice your pitch on this tool and have it grill you and act like an investor that would ask sharp questions based on what investors care about at our events, etc. So that is the Investor Advantage tool, and it's built on the 1,500 transcripts of talks that have been given on stage at our events over the last 19 years. Mark's asking, can you share hyperlinks to all these tools? Actually, the tools are part of the membership in Family Office Club. And so what I'll do is share two things here. One is, let me put my nameplate on here to make it a little more clear. And then also, here is where you can go if you actually want to get access to the AI tools immediately right now, like in real time while I'm speaking. You can join Family Office Club, and that's how you get access to all the tools. The Billionaire tool is free. That's why I provided access to that one. I also have a cup of coffee with Richard Wilson tool. It's been used 800 times. That one's also free. So I'll provide a link to that later at the end of the webinar if you just want to have a virtual cup of coffee. But you can just ask me questions here live right now if you want to. And then we also just have a short poll in case you want. I would love to get your feedback from you on what you've liked in the webinar so far and how you think we're doing, and then what we should cover next time. And if you want our team to follow up with you afterwards, I'll just launch that now so I don't forget to later. But that's related to getting access to the tools. Let me go back to my slides real quick. One of my favorite slides is coming up because it's so critical. This one is important. Most people who think AI is totally worthless aren't here, but some people do criticize it, saying like, oh, if you use AI, you're just going to get dumber. But like, that's like saying if you use a bike or a car, you're just going to get out of shape. It's like, well, yeah, if you never walk anywhere and never go to the gym, then that's for sure true. You're going to get out of shape. You should walk some places and ride your bike some places and then drive your car if you have to, is my approach. And so the same with AI, right? It's like, if you want to get to the Beverly Hills event, unless you live in Los Angeles, like you're probably not walking there, right? And so you're just not going to get to many places in the world if you only walk. So you want to walk, but also, so you want to use your human brain, but also AI, obviously. And that's the point of sharing that concept. It's kind of a thin argument. And the other thing that's been coming out the last 2 weeks is people saying over and over again how the economy is having a K-shaped expansion. That there's people with high agency and AI mastery, and there's people with low agency. Like you're either managing AI to be a superhuman, or you're going to be managed by AI, or even potentially replaced by AI in your role. It is the people with deep relationships, deep emotional intelligence, and broad multidisciplined experience that can navigate different types of challenges that AI cannot, and people who can leverage AI. They're going to do the best. And if you are average, it'd be the worst. Like another way to say it is being in the top 10 or 1% has never been so valuable with the power of AI, but being average will never have been so painful as it is right now. And a lot of AI just helps you move faster and be more effective. Like one AI billionaire recently said, he's never met a slow person who's super successful, right? And so it's not just about going manic quick all the time because now we have AI. It's about being more thorough. It's about not wasting time with bad actors. It's about identifying red flags and uploading a 150-page PPM and pitch deck, having it analyze it in 50 ways and spit out 7 super dialed in questions about red flags found. Have that happen in 10 seconds. Send over those 7 questions to the person pitching you, and don't waste a second of your human brain's time until they can answer those 7 questions well, right? Like, why would you, right? And so I think that's important to communicate. It's not about like, go, go, go. Now we do everything super fast. It's more about like, do less things, right? In physics, when you drop mass, you increase speed. we all need to drop mass of things that are huge wastes of time. And that's one big benefit of AI. This graph just shows basically how exponential AI is going, and the human brain is very bad at conceptualizing what it means when things go exponential. It's like almost impossible for the human brain to like do the math and just imagine exactly what it means and how quickly it's taking off. But to give an example, the last data center that Elon opened uses more electricity than the whole city of San Francisco at peak use, which is crazy. It's mind-breaking, right? Data centers last year added more to GDP of the United States than all of consumer spending. And at some point, data centers may use so much electricity, maybe us lowly consumers won't even have to pay for electricity because the data centers are sucking up 99% of it anyways. So let's just have them pay for it, right? That's going to be part of universal basic income, I would bet. In the future, they're planning to build data centers in space because you have natural cooling. You have close to 24-hour-a-day solar, and the solar power is a multiple more powerful. And on Earth right now, if you took all of our energy and multiplied it times 1,000,000, it'd still be about 1,000,000th of the energy of the sun. That's a quote that Elon shared on his XAI call recently. We also, and that's why I showed this picture of the sun here. So this is one of my favorite slides. Right now, human intelligence, all of our brains combined, is 99% of intelligence in the world. In 7 years, it's going to be 1%. That is how fast intelligence with AI is growing. And they've shown that a vertical AI agent can make you go 33% faster, make 25% less mistakes, and it's equivalent to a 12-point IQ base jump. That's today, right? Imagine 7 years from now. So, when COVID happened, a lot of us had to pivot our businesses. Those who didn't got damaged more likely. Those who pivoted the most and were most agile, like Darwin says, the most adaptable wins, not the strongest or the biggest, right? We've all seen Blockbuster, Kodak, and many other companies are about to fall because AI can replicate what they have and just undercharge and underprice for what has been way overcharged. Claude released a legal plugin 2 weeks ago, and the law data platforms in the stock market plunged by 250 billion in value that same day that the legal plugin came out. So that's just a hint of what's to come, I think. So this is important. A lot of people use, this is the basis for all of our tools right here. A lot of people use GPT, Claude, Gemini has grown massively in respect, like since 2 years ago. People used to laugh at Google's AI game. Now they're beating just about everyone except for Claude. And so basically, here's the challenge. When you use an LLM, like one of these AI tools, like let's choose ChatGPT because it has the most users. When you use it, how often do you type out a one sentence question? How often do you type out a paragraph and give it more nuance? How often do you attach things and give it more context? How often do you use your exclusive data that you've gathered or deep research from multiple sources to give it the best data possible? And how often are you writing a 1.5-page long prompt to have it really dialed in with structured output and really nuanced analysis and not do this, only do this, and this in this order, and then confidence rank that, and then vote on this, and then play devil's advocate on it, etc. Nobody does that, right? We're all like way too busy. Like that's ridiculous to even say, right? I know the answer is no one's doing that, except for maybe the number one most important thing you search for the whole year, right? So that is one thing that we built out. All of our tools are built off of 1 to 2 page, if not in some cases, we have 30-page long prompts that run our hyper intelligent tool with 100 million data points. We have over 30 pages of prompt instructions in there. No one's going to write out 30 pages, right? The other thing is that to think through AI at such a depth to find 58 use cases for how you can use AI without having to think like, oh, how am I supposed to use this thing? I guess I'll just ask it questions like, what's happening in this country with politics, or like what's happening there, or how can I improve my pitch deck? But instead, think of 58 very specific use cases with a 1.5-page long script, at least behind each one, and proprietary data and deep research data and structured output and multi-stage processes. That is Investor SuperIntelligence, because what we're doing is LLMs are like a wild horse with no saddle or rein on it. And what we're doing is putting stirrups, a saddle, and a rein on it. And it's going to buck you off sometimes and not always be accurate. Like, just like humans are not always accurate. but we're helping harness super intelligence for founders, investors, platform builders. That is what our tool set is. And every time you load one of our tools, it has 4 prompts on it. So there's at least 4 main use studies, like case study uses of each of our 58 tools, which means there's well over 200 uses for the AI tools that are dialed in just for you. That's the power of it. And if you don't come to a single one of our events, you'll get way more than your money's worth by using the AI tools. But most people look at it the opposite. They join, they want to come to some investor summits, and they don't leverage the AI tools enough. So we encourage you not to do that and to be one that does leverage it, of course. There's over 100,000 AI tools. Not very many of them are dialed into our niche. We've tried a ton of them, and we unsubscribed from just about all of them. We like using Fireflies. A lot of my clients use Whisper Chat, so they can just transcribe things on any app on their computer on the fly. So we like those tools. But a lot of the tools, and we have one that helps us chop up a YouTube video into YouTube Shorts. We released 91 YouTube videos last month alone, and we've got 2,300 videos out there now. So that AI tool helps us move quickly on the video front. Most of them don't work too well. What we do is take, instead of Reddit, Wikipedia data, 17-year-old podcaster from Ukraine filling a LLM and then giving you answers. You don't want to ask the 17-year-old podcaster for advice on anything, right? Except for maybe setting up a podcast if he's like a super nerd on that. And so instead, we fill our Investor SuperIntelligence funnel. We close it off from the internet in almost every single case. Only instant partner insights and 1 or 2 others that have to look on the internet for things to serve you are allowed to. Otherwise, they're cut off from the internet. And what it's fed with are the 1,500 transcripts from on stage, interviews with billionaires, public talks from billionaires, deep research on very specific content that's highly credible in the most credible data possible. And then we pull out emergent insights from that and train the data sets on that. So it's 10x more powerful results because of that as well. So again, these are some of the most popular tools out of the 40 plus that are out there that we're offering. These are 5 of the most popular tools. Investor Pipeline Builder is built on 22,000 investor profiles. It helps you sort through those data leads. Clara helps you with navigating 4 of our tools at once. And I'm going to show you her in just a minute. And it's basically, think of these as like an AI agent, essentially. That's why they have names to them. Another way to think about it is just a multi-tool. We showed you some one-off tools. Some of these are multi-tools, meaning they have the power of 4 of our different tools or 20 of our different tools in one. Dewey is our instant due diligence advisor. It's done over 2,000 due diligence reports. We're going to show you how that works in a minute. And then Deal Structure Ninja helps you structure deals, and Hyperintelligent is your instant 20-person advisory board. We're going to demonstrate those as well. I would not leave this webinar without knowing how these work, because this is the maximum leverage. If you ignore all of the other tools that we put together of the 58, and you only know how to use these 5, you're going to get 80% of the value, and then you'll be sucked into wanting to use the rest because you're going to see the ROI on it, right? So before we go into Clara and share how she works, I want to see if there's any questions here so we don't race forward and ignore everybody at the same time. Do you have a favorite partner provider for background checks? I forget the name of the super in-depth one that we use. VCheck, I think, was a super in-depth one. And then we also use Checker as well. And so those are the 2 that we're using. Yeah, I think that with the $10 or $20 a month GPT account, all of the tools work much better. So I'm glad a lot of that is working for the people here in the chat. Will your GPT work in the Copilot that our companies use? Our GPT tools are built in GPT. At some point, we might port them over to Gemini or another platform, but for now, we're keeping them on GPT because the horse race keeps on changing of who's ahead and what's best, etc. So for now, they're on there. Thank you for investing $1 million worth of education to us. Yeah, awesome. We spend about $4 million a year running our investor club, and we've been doing it for 19 years. Not that we obviously didn't even do 4 million in revenue our first year in business. So, but it's definitely more than $1 million invested in the education. But I'm glad you value it and are enjoying it. This says for partners only in the US. Yeah, for instant partner insights, it's for US only because the laws change everywhere globally. We don't want to get anyone in legal trouble. The link for Instant Partner Insights, Margaret, if you're a member and then you can message Jennifer or anyone on our team, and then we'll get you that link, and it's in your member portal. But that tool is reserved just for members of the Family Office Club. And so that line at the bottom of the screen right now, if you go to familyoffices.com/join, then you become a member and you can get instant access to all these AI tools. Let's see here. Thank you. Another meeting. Great. Okay. So we'll keep on moving through and show you how Clara works real quick here. And feel free just to send in questions as you get them. All right. So let's close this one down since we're done with it. Close that one down. Okay, so one tool that we didn't cover earlier, but we've done over 1,000 uses of within our club is Pitch Score. And this tool analyzes your pitch deck in 25 different ways and then gives you a grade and ways to improve it. I would not take the results of this as pure gospel, and I need to change every single thing that the AI says. Like, you know your niche best, and you know what's credible and what's true and what's accurate, and what's compelling and unique. And so I would just use it as brainstorming of different ways to look, like 25 sides of a Rubik's Cube of like, oh, okay, these colors may need to be shifted a bit to really match up according to this AI, which is a super nerd on how to analyze pitch decks. But at the end of the day, it's your offering and your platform. So you should trust yourself over any other person or AI tool. But you basically just upload your pitch deck, and then it'll ask if you have a website or a one pager. For this one, I said no. And then what it's going to do is score your pitch deck, and then it's going to analyze it in all of these different ways, from the name to the images to whether you have a one pager, your track record, the deck length, the jargon, terminology, the unique value proposition, the competitive analysis, the visual design, a call to action, a key graphic highlighting your core value. Super important to have that. It's going to help you improve your pitch deck and think about it in new ways. So I definitely encourage you to use that tool if you do become a member or if you already are one. And the cool thing about Clara, which we'll just grab a fresh version of the Clara tool here because I'm not seeing it pop up here. But the cool thing about Clara is what we've done is we have organized it so that the Clara tool combines 4 of the tools. So if you want to, you don't need to be opening up all of our different tools. You can simply open Clara and have a more efficient time having one in-depth conversation with a single tool. So this is where we're going in the future with our tools. We have been developing several multi-tools now. And this one here, can you guys see Clara there on your screen now? Hopefully it's switching screen views properly, but if you can, just give me a thumbs up or something there, it'd be great. But basically, Clara combines the one-liner tool right here. There's one-liner. Then it combines the pitch score tool here. Then it helps you structure a deal. We'll go over deal structure ninja, but that's what function number 3 is. And then function 4 is really important. You upload a pitch deck and it will literally help you write your due diligence questionnaire. What I found is that investors worth less than 50 million never ask for a due diligence questionnaire. Every institutional investor, anyone putting 5 or 10 million plus to work with you, is very likely to want to go this in depth. And what a due diligence questionnaire is something where you have thought through the top 30 questions that probably every sophisticated investor should be asking you about your opportunity. And you've thought through that for them, thought out the 30 questions and written out the 30 answers with like a medium quality answer to each and have that prepared. So what I'm going to say now, I uploaded a pitch deck and I said, please write out the 30 questions a sophisticated investor should be asking about this opportunity and the 30 answers drawn from my pitch deck. Have the answers be medium length and not just one sentence long each. Use bullet points if the answer is longer. And then what we'll do is go through and analyze based on PPM, webinar you upload, a microphone recording, extra context, a zip file, documents you upload, whatever, a long email you wrote to an investor that explains many parts of your model, as much context as possible, then you'll have a more robust output, obviously, right? And so what it's doing now is creating the 30 sophisticated questions. So what is the core investment thesis? What is the target return and time horizon? And these will range from basic to very sophisticated, complex questions that are very targeted, right? And so what I would do after this gets created is copy paste this into a Word document, review every single question and answer, maybe remove a couple and come up with a couple better ones, make sure every answer is complete, maybe add a few pictures or graphs next to it or citations, third-party credible sources. And then I would show that to my attorney and say, hey, is there anything here that's like a red flag or that I shouldn't be saying? And just make sure that what's being said is kosher with what your compliance or legal attorney says is okay for you to say. Because you're responsible for what gets said, right? You can't say, oh, sorry, AI like made that for me. So sorry, it misrepresented my financials. Like, no, it's your responsibility for whatever it says, like for sure, right? But this is super powerful. And so just by using Clara, you can create the one-liner, create your video script, analyze your pitch deck, structure a deal. You can create the data room. If you only use this tool, you're light years ahead of most people because we survey people at our events. We put up a slide that says, here are the 6 things that most people mess up. They don't have a unique enough offering. They don't have a one-liner. They don't have a brand that actually means something that pulls people in. They don't have a 1-minute pitch video. They don't have a short pitch deck. They don't have a due diligence data questionnaire. And we'll have 1 or 2 people out of 60 in the room that actually have those things in place. And so this tool takes away the excuse of not having it in place. It just helps you execute and get it done. So I hope that many of you are finding that helpful. So far, we've had more use of the one-off tools because we had those out for the first 9 months. And then now the multi-tools are becoming available. And I think people are getting more familiar with how to use them. So Clara is becoming more popular. It's probably one of our top 15 most popular tools. But it's built on our top 5, top 7 most popular tools. Here is my favorite tool of them all. This AI tool, I think, is going to change several people's lives for the better, of course, is what I mean. So basically, Deal Structure Ninja is trained on 1,000 deal structures. You just say what the deal is you're negotiating, what you're trying to get out of the deal in terms of what you want to optimize for, what the situation is. Again, the more context, the better. And this tool has structured over 8,000 deals for our clients, meaning it's came up with over 8,000 deal structure possibilities to consider. So what I'm going to do now is share Deal Structure Ninja real quick here. And here we go. So basically, I'm saying I'm purchasing a insurance business with 1.2 million a year in revenue. They make 300K a year in profits, and they've been in business for 7 years. I'm wanting to purchase them at a fair price, but under a great structure. I want some seller financing. I'm willing to offer them a gross revenue royalty going forward for 7 years, with the most during the first 3 years. And I want them to be happy and helpful after the sale. What are the structures I should consider using? So no, this isn't about screwing over the other party and saying, how do I get like amazing terms and leave them with nothing and not pay them the earn out? Like, you want the counterparty to be supportive and to spread good word about you and wanting you to win. You do not want to buy a business from someone and the second the deal closes, they're resentful, right? And so it's just good business and it's just the right thing to do. And it's just good for you to do that, right? And so basically it's saying, before I structure this, I need to calibrate to your goals. What type of deal are you structuring? I'm going to say it is a buyout deal. Challenge is that the owner is not sure about selling, no other complications known. I want to maximize the smooth process of the deal. Tell me about the seller. Seller is 70 years old and a bit burnt out. What are you most worried about? Most worried about post-close revenue drop. And then if you're in a hurry, like me right now, I'm not going to answer all of their questions. I'm just going to answer a few that I care about most, and then it's going to go to work and not care about that. So it gives a little snapshot of what I said, and then here it's saying here are 5 deal structures to start with. And you can see each one spells out a little bit about why it works and what the deal structure is. So importantly, when you review these, the best results from all these tools will be getting the answer and saying, I like number 3, show me 5 more options just like 3. and it's not even done thinking yet. So it's still pumping out a couple more options. I push stop down the bottom. Then I say that. Here at the bottom, it's summarizing the 5 deal structures, and it's telling you when to use each one, how complex they are. Many times, if you structure things, even so it's really good for both parties, if it's too complex, they're going to think you're trying to trick them and like Wharton them. And, if they're confused, they might not say they're confused. They might just say, well, let me think about it. And then they just don't really know that it's actually way better for them than the terms that someone else offered for them, right? So you need to keep things relatively simple, but really dialed in and customized to the situation. So here's an option with phantom equity. Here's one with a step down ownership model, et cetera. So I'm not going to go deeper on this, but this tool is amazing if you are selling an asset. It's amazing if you're looking to buy assets. It is most amazing if you have very little capital, but you want to acquire an asset. I was listening to an Audible book of someone whose net worth was $10 million and he acquired a company with $100 million in revenue, and it was through a deal structure. And he said, with almost all of our deals, we put almost no money down because we had no money. But he became a billionaire through deal structures and doing 100 other things, right? Obviously, and being a deep work ethic, et cetera. But I think deal structures are so underappreciated and so powerful. Many times people have told me, go away, Richard. We're never going to do this deal with you. You're wasting your time. And then we end up getting the deal done together. That is awesome and really has transformed our business. And I think our business would be a third of the size if we didn't know how to get deals done and we weren't fluid in deal making. If you don't have different tools in your deal structuring toolbox, then you're not going to get much done in the investment world. That's my certainty at this point. If you just go out to the world and say, here's my fund, do you want to be an LP in my fund? Most people say, no, thank you. We prefer to invest direct, or we do co-GP, or we like pref equity, or we like lending, or we like mezz, or we'd like a gross revenue royalty deal, or maybe we'll do a fund, but maybe after investing direct. And so there's just so many different things you have to keep in mind, and you're going to lose out on the most powerful investors you ever meet. You will lose that deal if you don't know how to structure deals, almost for sure, because they have their preferred way of doing things. They have their templates they like to use. They might have even developed a proprietary structure. We have a billionaire in our club that's put money into 19 deals through Family Office Club so far. I've known him for 12 years. It took me 6 years getting to know him, and then he closed 19 deals through us. And he has his own structure for his publicly traded entity that he likes to use. He's like a perfect example of that. All right, here is the next tool I want to show everybody. This is Dewey, your instant due diligence advisor. This tool just got upgraded to the newest model through OpenAI on ChatGPT here. So I encourage you to check it out if you haven't yet. Essentially, you can run a full due diligence report on anyone's PPM, anyone's pitch deck, a deal that somebody pitches you over email. This is what I mentioned earlier, like in that word bubble, due diligence came up early on, and you might, find yourself saying, oh, well, I run a investment fund. I need to figure out how to raise capital, not do better due diligence or get better deal flow. But all these things are connected. If you have amazing due diligence and you're able to screen deals faster, then you save more time and you can spend more face time with your investors, or you can spend more time actually walking the property, walking the manufacturing floor, going to the dry cleaner, going to the oil and gas rig, whatever it is, whatever niche you're in. We have members in just about every private equity operating business, tech, and real estate niche you could imagine. But this tool is trained on over 150 white papers on family office due diligence, institutional due diligence, venture capital, angel investing, real estate, startup, seed capital, all the way to IP, patent due diligence, et cetera. And I would still hire a forensic accountant or a due diligence expert before allocating significant dollars, but this helps screen things up front, because there's no way anyone you hire is going to go memorize 150 white papers on due diligence, remember your preferences and things that we have dialed in here. These are structured outputs that I want to see when I look at deals. So selfishly, I use this. And when I say that we can customize one of our AI tools for you, if you're a verified member with us, we could look at the values of your private equity firm or of your private company that you're growing. We could look at your values, your priorities, your geographical strike zone, everything that you tell your team to look for in a deal, and define that strike zone very tightly. And then we could layer on top of Dewey an instance of a customized version of Dewey just for you. So every single deal that you look at gets screened by your version of Dewey. and dials it in and gives you a risk score or a preference score and how much it hits your strike zone, right? So that's the cool thing about these AI tools. And when you first put a deal in, it'll tell you a summary of the deal, the legal structure, the fee summary, all of that right away is super helpful from a high level, but then it breaks down the deal further, looks at minimum investment, pref returns, equity splits, security offering type. It then goes into unusual, noteworthy things, which could be a red flag or just something good that's unusual. It gives you a risk score and tells you how high risk the deal is. It does a first principles analysis assessment of the deal. It looks at the reality and the gravity behind their physics, like how sure of a thing is this, or what are the assumptions here? It goes over many different things, which I'm not going to all read off to you, but it gives you confidence intervals and how risky something is and how much of a fit it may be. It then gives you a summary view, and it also will write up 7 questions that you can ask that provider. So that's my favorite part, is that basically at the end, not just analyzes everything. It's like, here's the next step. Here are the 7 questions you should ask before you use your human brain on this deal. And if they take 4 months to reply to that, or never reply, or have horrible answers, you just saved yourself a ton of time, right? That's why using AI is not about like, go, go, go. Let's like, now we can just like go around and click around and do a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, no, now you can save time here and spend more time on your health or with your spouse or meeting in person with your top investor or being more thorough in areas that matter because this part has been automated, right? Just like you could keep business cards on like a Rolodex file on your desk, or you could use a CRM. So you choose. There's like one that's more efficient use of your time. And on that last tool I just showed, Deal Structure Ninja, the final step actually that I rushed past is that it will write the email to the seller or buyer of the asset you're negotiating with and explain the structure. So it's very simple in the explanation. Super critical. Otherwise, you design something that's like amazing in your mind, you send it over and it's crickets, or they say, nope, not interested because they have no idea what you're talking about, right? So you have to make it clear to your attorney and clear to the counterparty. If there's any questions on Dewey or Deal Structure Ninja, feel free to submit them. I'm just going to check the chat here real quick. Susan's saying, how can I get the most out of this fantastic group if I'm a small loan officer who gets referrals from people looking for financing or investors? Many are well over 100 million. So Susan, if you want to send me an email, I'm just going to put my email here in the chat. Feel free to reach out and I can share different ways. But also, I would say that coming to our events are going to allow you to connect with both types. If you become a member, you can leverage all the AI tools. You can stream 1,250 videos from investors through a mobile app or our website. But also, out of our 30 events a year, you can probably come to 3 or 4 or 5 to 7 without having to travel much. And then you're able to connect with potential clients, build up your Rolodex of investors. If you're able to say, well, actually, I'm an active member of Family Office Club and they have 10,000 registered investors in their community. So if we work together, I'm happy just to put the word out and see if I can't make a helpful connection for you. And many deals get done. Over $1 billion of transactions have gotten done in our club and in our community. Sarah's saying, are these tools secure to us as the user? Meaning if we're inputting very strategic deep knowledge on our own deals, is the data protected from being mined or shared? So Sarah, this is like the reality on all of our custom GPTs. Normal GPT will have memory of former conversations. It remembers some of what you said, especially if you tell it to remember things. A custom GPT, for privacy reasons, doesn't have memory built in. So you want to keep one long conversation going. But then if you start a new chat with it, it's not going to remember the other conversation. And when we built each of these tools, we unchecked the box saying, allow this data to train OpenAI's models. That all said, like, is Microsoft and Google and OpenAI and every big tech company and 20 foreign government, surveillance organizations all listening to me right now on my iPhone sitting on my desk? And is Gmail like scanning emails, even if I uncheck something? Is Google doing that? I don't know, right? It's big tech. It's like, so I would not put anything into AI that if it was presented on a big screen in a courtroom would make you look like a fraud or make it look like you're planning to do something illegal or evade taxes. For sure, I would never put anything like that in any AI tool or any form of anything, right? Like, because it's not privileged information. NDA type information. A lot of people use AI tools for things protected by NDA, but talk to your compliance attorney about it, I guess. I mean, these tools are unchecked, meaning it doesn't train their master model. But like I said, like, do you trust Microsoft not to peer into what you have into, Microsoft Word? Do you trust Google not to look at what's in your Google Sheets or your Google Drive, Dropbox, et cetera? So it's big tech at the end of the day. So I only trust it so much. I don't think they're evil at the core, but I do think that on some high level, maybe some learning is going on some deep binary level, perhaps, right? So we do our best, though, to keep it as private as we can. How do you protect confidential information, Edmund? Yeah, good question. That always comes up. Yeah, thanks, Richard, for being here. Appreciate that. Can I use Dewey to stress test an opportunity to share with family offices? Please remind me what document you loaded into Dewey. Yeah, that was just a pitch deck, Steve, that I loaded up into Dewey. But you can upload a PPM. You can upload anything that you can imagine to basically, like, I think you can upload up to 10 attachments, or it might be 20 now. So the more, the better in terms of loading things into the portal. Merrick, I see your comment here about you're from Poland and you're looking for investments. If you want to shoot me an email or follow up with one of my team members, we can help you with some feedback on that. Adelaide, I'm sorry there's no sound on your side. I think everyone else can hear me, though, because we're seeing a lot of comments coming here. I think I'd be getting a lot of complaints if everybody could not hear me. If we can get a confirmation in the chat and the sound didn't go out, that would be awesome. Yeah, and I do surf with my family. I saw that question since we're out here in Hawaii, and sound is working for other people, I guess. So Steve, you asked a question about vetting deals. Definitely you can vet deals with Dewey, but also one of the next tools we wanted to show you is literally called Veti. But it's not going to help you as much, Steve, because I know that you're in the healthcare space, basically providing eyesight to people that were blind with your VR glasses, if I've got the right Steve there. But Veti is a cousin of Dewey that is focused on real estate deal stress testing. So you upload a PDF of a deal, you say, analyze this deal and stress test it. What would your full analysis look like? And then I think I already ran that and got the details of it right here. And it does a deal summary, just like Dewey. But then down here, you'll actually see that it's stress testing it based on your exit cap rate. It tells you how much the value drops based on cap rate changes. It tells you about rent growth and what the risk levels are there. It also tells you about your CapEx overrun if you spend too much on renovation. It also tells you at what occupancy level does this deal break, right? Like, okay, well, your assumption is X and Y. So if occupancy doesn't get to where you think it will at X, your whole deal falls apart. And so this is like a stress tester tool for real estate, for vetting a real estate deal. We might at some point build one for private equity deals and private companies, because we've gotten some requests for that. And if anybody would like that, we could probably put that together relatively swiftly. But Veti was built for stress testing real estate deals. We could probably honestly just keep it within Veti and have a second prompt for vetting private equity deals or something like that. So I'll think about that with my team. But I appreciate the question. But that was the next one we are actually going to be sharing with everybody. So perfect timing to have that question come up. We've got another couple of tools and then a couple more insights related to AI and leveraging AI we want to get to here in a minute. This tool, though, HyperIntelligent, is our most advanced tool, and we just updated it this week. It combines over 100 million data points, and we have over 30 pages of instructional scripts behind this tool. So it's our most sophisticated tool. The purpose here is to help you become more decisive, not have to open 3 or 4 of our tools. Like, for example, when I was improving this tool, I had Claude, Gemini, Grok Heavy, and GPT open. And while making a decision the other day, I had Billionaire Collective Intelligence open, HyperIntelligent, Investor Advantage, plus Grok Deep Research, plus GPT Heavy Research. Like, if you want really thorough, multifaceted answers, it's really interesting to see the different perspectives. And a lot of times as founders, like Bezos says, you have to be decisive even with 1 million employees. Once you know 60, 70% of the data, if that decision is reversible in the future, you just have to go. And, Zuckerberg says the most costly wrong decision is often not making a decision. It's your indecision that is the failure. By trying to be careful, you made a bad decision because you sat there. And so hyperintelligent is trying to harness all of the deep data and structures we've written out over our most popular tools and helping you get a consensus view and confidence into what you should do next potentially. And so I'm going to share an example of how to use this tool. I feel like this tool should be like our most popular tool. It's not. It's like in the top 7 or top 10, but it is only 4 months old or maybe 5 months old now. But I would encourage you to check it out. So this is what it looks like. And it gives you some options here at the bottom. You can cast a vote. You can consider multiple perspectives. You can ask for general help and advice, etc. I typed something out here to save you guys all watching me type a few sentences, but basically saying I've got 2 opportunities in front of me. One would involve some legal risk and learning a new area, but we could grow 10x on it. The other one leverages our unique capabilities. It's very low risk, and we could grow it by 2 to 4x over time, but we'd have to raise a little bit of capital to do it. What would an advisory board tell me to focus on? Moonshot, 10x return possibilities, or the more sure thing with 2 to 4x? Cast a vote and provide me with insights. So what you're doing is imagine you sat down with one mentor who is worth $50 million and you asked him this advice. You might really value what his response is, right? But maybe he's biased because one time he raised capital and it didn't work out. Maybe he's biased because one time he went for a moonshot and it blew up in his face. But that one person's experience is not statistically relevant, right? It's just one person's perspective. That's why reading one book written by a billionaire is not as good as reading 250 or 50, right? And so imagine you got to sit down and have a cup of coffee with 50 people that were worth $100 million or listen to 1,000 public talks from billionaires. Those are the different perspectives coming through in these votes, right? So here's Ivan from Investor Advantage. These are the 1,500 investors that have spoken on stage at our events. We know these are high quality folks and we've met them in person. So we weight the response here slightly higher and we start with it. And it's voting to lean into the 2 to 4x first. And then you could structure out the 10x potentially. Here's the billionaire perspective, voting. Then we have one of our older tools, Instant Advisory Board, has 7 different experts built into it. Fred from the family office world, Benjamin, a contrarian billionaire, Steve, an institutional CFO, Christy, a centimillionaire operator, etc. We have Clara in here as well. And then we also have you see what Dewey would say about it. And we also have in here what GPT would tell you if you just went to GPT and asked it for advice. What would be the generic advice of GPT? And you can compare that against our specialized advice, right? So all 20 votes come in with reasoning, and you can just go deep and say, you know what? Recast the vote only to Investor Advantage. Recast the vote only based on Clara, etc. Or you could say, recast the vote only based on tech titans, only people that made all their money in tech. I don't care about the advice of billionaires and family office folks from healthcare and manufacturing. Just give me advice from people who have made it big in the tech world. And then that way you can get a more valuable vote. So here you might have thought yourself, yeah, I should probably do the 2 to 4x thing, not the moonshot thing. You might have thought that already. And then you cast a vote, 12 votes are casted for doing the 2 to 4x, 5 are saying hybrid. You might then go over to the Deal Structure Ninja tool, or even just use this tool and say, okay, well, what would a dialed in structure look like if I consult with Deal Structure Ninja on this, go through the 1,000 deal structures, and like, how could I have my cake and eat it too, and approach both. So that's how hyperintelligent works. You can cast votes, you can cast industry specific votes, and then you can iterate in any one of these perspectives. It's backed by the data. There's deep data behind each of these modes. Like Cypher is an expert on strategic choke points. Well, one of our tools is called Choke Point Machine, and all of that data and all the prompts for Choke Point Machine are loaded up behind Hyperintelligent. So you can go straight into going deep on choke points by using Hyperintelligent. So you could use this tool the most often. That's why I think over time it's going to be our most popular tool. Is there any questions on that from participants here on the webinar? I'm happy to make it more clear, make sure that I'm not going over things too quickly. Let's see what questions we have here. Let's see what knowledge base is Veti built on. So Elizabeth, that is built on deep research on real estate stress testing, And it's built on real estate discussion panels and real estate like interviews and expert interviews on real estate deal analysis. We usually combine things from on stage at our 300 events hosted. And then we also have other deep research sources of information we combine with it as well. Is the custom Dewey tool, the verified membership, incapable of memory as well? So the customized Dewey tool would typically not have memory as well, but one thing that we're starting to do is build out data rooms within Notebook LM environments. So all of your information on a deal that an investor may have questions on is built out in a Notebook LM, and they can ask questions to it. A audio summary of it can be provided, and when you ask questions, it sources where the answer comes from. In theory, we could take a Dewey instance and have it have memory through a Notebook LM. It'd be a little bit more in depth to put that together. But as we get better in putting together like data rooms within Notebook LM instances for, we're doing it right now for a $150 million net worth family. The more that we do that, the more that we'll be able to also do that for verified members and then have that capability for our current members. So if you've been a member for a while, you've seen us go from almost zero in the AI space to having this tool set. So we're making pretty quick progress in all of this. Yeah, Dr. Stephanie Audrey, thanks for being here. And if you were at the Beverly Hills event last year, I hope you can come back in a couple of weeks. It's going to be awesome. We have a really, really great speakers coming on stage, including a Navy SEAL who spoke at the Super Summit. He's going to be coming back as well. And oh yeah, Smart Suites. I remember looking at your materials when you came in. Does HyperIntelligent include VETI? It includes Dewey, which is a big part of VETI, but it doesn't include the stress test parts of that. We could modify that if needed. True Strategic, yeah, thanks for being here. We're learning how the tools can help entrepreneurs create our assets. Can you offer a reference such as an excellent one-liner, an excellent 1-minute video, an excellent deck? Yes. So Steve, I'm happy to, if you want to. So basically, I think the best way to learn from anyone is see what they do, not just what they say, right? That's how you really see if somebody is really being genuine with you or not. Because otherwise it's like, are they just trying to sell me a bill of goods? Like, is the insurance guy saying I should get a massive insurance policy? And then you ask him what he has and he has like a tiny one, right? So the best way to show you the liner that we believe in is to show one liner on the homepage of our website, right? It is the only investor club with, let me tweak my screen here a second. So you can see here live on the screen here that our one-liner is the only investor club with 30 events a year, 10,000 registered investors, 50 AI tools, and a 18 million person network. So that is our one-liner. That'd be an example of something that we would think would be unique and compelling. Doctors Investor Club is an investor club that we co-founded. We have 90 doctors in there now. And our one-liner is free. Doctors and dentists only investor club with peer-to-peer networking, 30 events a year, and 40 ready-to-use artificial intelligence tools, which are the ones we're presenting to you right now. And then the third example would be duediligenceclub.com. They've allocated $10 million into deals so far with their 60 members, just under 60. I think we have 58 members, and you can submit your deal here. If you want to have it considered under submit a deal, whether you're a member with us or not. But you can see our one-liner here, which is harness the collective wisdom of 50 analytical investors and AI to screen opportunities, minimize risk, and amplify returns. Because what we're doing here is selling membership to investors that want to look at deals with high net worth peers and do deep due diligence together so they're not investing on their own. And they feel more comfortable doing that with peers. So that would be an example of one-liners. For one-pagers, best thing I could do is take my PowerPoint from the boot camp that we did recently. And I had pictures of great one-pagers on there and send that to you. And then in terms of a 1-minute pitch video, I would again look at our familyoffices.com/join page. I'll put that into the chat. And if you look at that website page, you can see my 1-minute video. And I state what was our one-liner at the time I recorded the video. I try to make it visual. I do the things I'm telling you guys to do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be telling you to do it, obviously. So I would look at that. If I had to do that video over again, honestly, it turned out to be a minute 15 or a minute 20, and I really wanted it under a minute. So I sped up the voice just a little bit, and it might be 5% too fast. But our demographic are fast moving CEOs that get bored easily. I'd rather have it be a little bit too fast and put people to sleep, honestly. So that's, I really don't mind that, but we do get comments sometimes that like, I'm talking a bit too fast in that video. Let me see what we could go over next here real quick. One second, and then we'll open it up for Q&A for any other questions any of you have. Okay. So if you remember with us, if you want to rename yourself here within the webinar, I'll call on you first for some more Q&A here. Like Steve, I know is a member. True Strategic, I just saw on here. I saw another Steve on here, Steve Eddy, I think it is. But when we do live hot seats, we're literally bringing someone up, sharing the screen with them, going over their strategy, going over what they're doing to put deals together, source deals, invest, conduct due diligence, etc. That's what this monthly webinar series is all about, like interactive demonstration of tools, so that you understand, like when somebody joins our club, we find that they are twice as likely to get a massive ROI if they understand how deep the rabbit hole goes on deal structures, on building a platform, on acquiring strategic choke points, on how to negotiate deals, on how to network with the ultra wealthy, on how to manage your time like a centimillionaire. If they understand all of that, plus they meet some investors and peers that are doing huge things, then they want to stay a member for like a very long time. The only people that really come in and are super unhappy is one person came to like our annual event. He was like, "Oh, I was trying to get a $10 million check, and somebody promised me that, if I just came to this one event, for sure I'd find $10 million." And I said, "Well, my team for sure would never promise you that, because if we could be sure you'd find $10 million coming to one event, we'd charge you $250,000, not $5,000 or $10,000 or $2,000 for a charter membership for 6 months, right?" So we are very careful not to overpromise. You have to do your own push-ups, right? Like, doesn't matter how good the room is. If you don't have a one-liner, you don't have a 1 minute video, you don't have a one-pager, and you're not doing something unique, you're not going to raise money in any room, probably, unless it's a room full of people that have known you for 20 years and they just love you and are preconditioned to want to really do business with you for some reason, right? So make sure you make it to our Beverly Hills event, whether it's virtually or in person. It's going to be amazing. And I stopped paying for other memberships and events. And I have people that used to be part of Tony Robbins' group. Now they're only part of ours, or they only go to one others plus ours, and they've canceled other groups they're part of because the caliber of our speakers went way up. And I just put all my energy into making my events awesome. What I was finding is that I was going to other masterminds, and then while there, I'm spending my energy speaking at their event, going to their event, traveling for their events. Meanwhile, I've got my own 30 events. So I spent all my energy into making sure that our events are world-class and fast-moving. And I script every discussion panel question and the topics because I don't want to get bored at my own event. And if we have someone who speaks and they don't align with our values that you see on the wall behind me of integrity, and they're not respectful, and they're not kind, and they're not like nice people to do business with, and we don't think they're a class act, we just never have them back again. And it helps kind of prune the industry, like it prunes the event community over time. And just about every other investment conference business is exactly that. They're running a conference. And at the next event, you see completely different people at the next conference. Ours is an investor community. We're a family office club. So we are a community that's growing and have been around for 19 years. A lot of people have come into the industry and then gone out of business because they don't have the same intent of doing what we're trying to do over the long term and really build deep relationships. So here's where our 30 events are. We're always creating new AI tools and improving our current AI tools and simplifying it for power users who want to use multiple tools in one tool. So we'll continue to get better at that. We'll continue to do quarterly AI webinars. And then once or twice a year, we do a full day laptops out workshop where you bring your computer and you use the AI tools. And for 6.5 hours, we go deep on AI for the whole day. We have a couple guest speakers. We go over our tools. You use the tools. You get super comfortable with them throughout the day. One of the main things about studying billionaires studying centimillionaires, even like NBA, NFL, pro athlete types or Olympians have been watching the Olympics lately. If you read their books or listen to their talks or listen to like Tom Brady getting enacted into the Hall of Fame or Michael Jordan in The Last Dance, or if you watch a documentary called Breakpoint, or if you watch Verstappen and Drive to Survive, the commonality is it all comes down to mental models. It all comes down to managing your mental state, and making sure that you have a clear vision of where you're going to go and you put the work in to do something that's uniquely valuable to get there. And billionaires don't say, yeah, if you do these 7 things, you'll be a billionaire too. Because it's not realistic. It's not credible. It's not true. At one point in time, they did something that worked at that point in time for them based on their DNA and their industry at that point in time. What they do say all the time, just about every really successful person does, is I had grit. I had focus or extreme focus. I was a voracious learner. Your network is basically your net worth over time, right? You have to play a unique game. You have to not do everything just like everyone else. It makes you commoditized, right? You have a crystal clear advantage. And so if you want to read books authored by billionaires, I highly encourage you to do so. You can get my favorites at billionaires.com/books. If you want to see if we're the real deal or not, I would go to our YouTube channel called Centimillionaire Strategies. We have 2,300 videos worth of evidence of us interviewing billionaires, centimillionaires, pro athletes. Under playlists, you can look at our mini series, and we have a 17 video mini series on how to raise $100 million plus. We have a 14 video mini series just on how to start a family office and invest smarter. So we put out so much for free. We've put out more videos on family offices than all of our competitors combined. And that's led to me being the #1 social media influencer in the world in the family office space through documenting mental models. And so we've codified them into the AI tools. But I also encourage you to get involved in our club in the way to de-risk the transaction, because everyone's thinking like, is this real? Oh, I wish I would have came earlier to your events. Like, well, like if you enjoyed this webinar, you're going to love the events, because some people only come to the events and they ignore all the AI tools. And the AI tools come from insights that came from coming to all of the events. But meeting people in person, it's easier to pay attention. It's how you build a network. It's how you get bigger deals done. It's how you get more inspired. And if you want to level up your game in business, you need to be around super founders, or it's not very likely you'll ever become a super founder. That's why I go to all of my own events. I don't farm it out and have my team member run one event, and then I just sit out here in Hawaii on the beach, relaxing. Like I'm at every one of our 30 events, right? That's why I bring some of my family with me. So you can use our mobile app and stream 1,250 investor talks. You can use your mobile and navigate all of our AI tools fluidly while on the go, walking the dog, exercising, traveling, etc. And you can use it while doing business as well. So that is Investor SuperIntelligence. We're trying to help you harness superintelligence for your business as a founder, investor, or capital raiser. Remember this slide. You want to be using AI in many cases to make you learn faster, not so you don't have to use your human brain. And what we're really trying to do is say that instead of thinking about it as walking everywhere, Investor SuperIntelligence is like a highly equipped mountain bike that some people deep in that sport paid $20,000, $30,000 for, that helps you navigate the high altitude ridges of building a big business, right? You have to navigate things in a very dynamic, agile fashion these days to build a business that's robust and can survive through high interest rates, geopolitical changes, inflation, changes in investor appetite, regulatory changes, employee changes, maybe changes in your personal life, right? That is not easy to do. And so we're trying to build the AI tool set that helps you navigate this, versus only using your own brain. So here's the 3 membership options. Charter membership, you get the 40 core tools and 30 events a year. VIP, you also get the investor data tools and our 22,000 investor leads and Excel spreadsheet databases. You get 1 guest ticket a year to an event of your choice. And charter membership is $2,000 for 6 months. VIP is $5,000 for a whole year, far more value. And then verified membership, we try to make it like silly valuable because we just want everyone to have the background check and the check mark on their name badge over time. So eventually we may like only have a verified membership and up just to make everything that much more high quality. And we've added a few dozen verified members since we launched this a couple months ago. And both the people who are going through it and the investors love that we're going in this direction because it just means a higher quality community. and you get 3 guest tickets a year, one per event of your choice, plus everything else included in this chart. So you get a full membership for a full year for one person, but you can bring three guests over a year. You get the check mark on your name badge. You get 2 stage talks as discussion panels, one exhibit table, which sells for $15,000 to $16,000 just for the sponsorship benefits. And we'll do your 1 minute pitch video and dial in an AI tool for you. And it's only $10,000. Because of the reasons described, we just want to have the most credible investor club we possibly can. Over Christmas break, I wrote up a Deca Millionaire Trail Guide. And that is a tool which basically allows you to see how I grew my wealth. And it gives you strategies on how you can grow your wealth as well. And so what I'm going to do is get the preview version of that and put that in the chat right now. I'll give you the Dropbox link. And then what you could do is check out the preview version and see if you find it helpful. And the full version is available to members. So let me pop that in chat real quick. And if you have questions, you can start asking them. But there's my Dropbox link to the preview document. And that's what verified membership's all about. You just go to familyoffices.com/join, and then you could become a member right now to access all the AI tools if you'd like. All right, so my email, if you want to ask something private, is just richard@familyoffices.com. I've got a few team members here on the webinar, so you can always chat with them as well, just directly on Zoom right now as we're finishing up and taking questions. But I've got time for Q&A, and I'll go through the different tabs here on Zoom to make sure I didn't miss any questions that came up earlier. But here is if you'd rather send me a text message or an audio note, this is my direct mobile phone number here, the 808 number. Or if you have my old Trio 5 one, that works as well for text message. This 808 one works on WhatsApp as well. And then my email is just richard@familyoffices.com. And I'm going to go through questions now here. Charles is saying, thank you, Richard. Joining the Family Office Club has been the best investment I've ever made for my company. I've researched and explored many groups, and I can confidently say stand head and shoulders above the rest. Kudos to you. Well, Charlie, I appreciate that. I didn't see that you were even on the webinar today, and it's kind of you to say that in front of everybody. So please come back to all of our webinars because I didn't know you were going to make such a comment. But I appreciate you being here. And if you need anything from me, Charlie, just shoot me an email, and hopefully we'll see you at the Beverly Hills event coming up. And I appreciate that you like the membership, but I think the way that we have gotten here is not just like, if you just fish for compliments, like you don't get better, right? So if you ever do go to another event and they have an awesome keynote speaker that we should be inviting, let me know. If somebody else is doing something that we should be doing, that's how we get another 1% better. And then if you keep on getting 1% better, then you get pretty dang good over time at least some parts of your business. So let me know as anyone sees things we could be doing better. Yeah, thank you, Merrick. Appreciate you joining the webinar here from Poland. My brother-in-law lives in Portugal, and he's about a 12-hour time difference from us. So thanks for staying up late there in Poland and joining the webinar here today. Appreciate that. What's the app to listen to the videos online? Greg, which app are you talking about? Our mobile app, you can log in on your phone through the Kajabi login, and Jennifer can get you that. Because I recognize your name, of course. You've been a member for a long time now. I don't know if you're talking about the YouTube videos or the membership app for our membership, but we can help you out with that and get you the name of the app. Ken is saying, we've learned about one-liners, 30-second verbal pitches, and pitch decks. What about the one-pager teaser? Do you have a tool for that? Yeah, I would use the pitch tool to help you put that together, but it is at the core designed for a pitch deck. I guess that would be an idea I need to write down here. I guess if one of my team members could just take that note down for me on Slack, that we probably should have a one-pager tool that's just dialed in just for one-pagers. But the bullet points on what a great one-pager should have is usually your logo in the corner, your one-liner along the top, so it pops out first, your contact details, usually along the bottom, your 1-minute video is near the top. This next part's really important. It should have your key visual that at a glance, you look at it, and now they get what you do. They get what's unique about what you're doing. They understand your process, your secret sauce that is really your edge in the space that's kind of breaking the industry mold or model or norm. And then at the bottom, I'd usually put my credible team or a timeline graphic. But basically, once you put your pitch deck together, which hopefully is just 12 or 15 pages long, you say to yourself, what are the killer visuals in this pitch deck that really suck people in? Or why do people really invest with us? At the end of the day, what makes them invest versus pass on us? And if you can get to the essence of that and put it into a visual, it's 10x more powerful than having to spell it out in paragraphs and bullet points. People don't want to read long, dense things when they're super busy, and nobody wants to read it in general. So the more visual, the better. And there should be tons of text on a one pager. So that would be some instructions about that. How about quad charts for military use? Merrick, can you explain what that means? I'm not familiar with quad shots. We've got charts. We've got a ton of military folk here in Hawaii, I think more than any other state in the US, but I'm just not familiar with that term. Ellington said that she agrees with Charlie, and she really enjoyed working with Xander and Jennifer during the onboarding. Awesome. Yeah, thanks for being here, Ellington. Appreciate that. Scott says, amazing, after all these years of growth, you're still so accessible. I was one of your early hedge fund certification participants. Oh, that's awesome, Scott. What year was that, Scott, when you came into the hedge fund certification? Because when I started this business, I was in the basement apartment in Harvard Square, and I had less money in my bank account than I had due for rent that month. And I was writing articles for Investopedia. I had a blog, started selling advertising on a blog. And my first product launch was a hedge fund certification program. And those familiar with Boston might have heard of Boloco burrito shops. And I literally had a desk that looked worse than like Jeff Bezos' famous first desk where there's Amazon written on the wall. I had this little fold up IKEA desk. It's probably like $20 desk. And then I would go work at Boloco burrito shop sometimes. And I was 26 years old when I started the business. And the day I launched the hedge fund certification, things started to take off. And then I guess starting many businesses growing up to actually get traction after having only one work after starting 8 or 9 businesses and then seeing that it was working makes me be more grateful for that opportunity and try to stay humble and not take it for granted and think that I should not stay engaged with people. I also think that we have so much more we could go. I think we're just getting started. And a lot of my competitors are 20 years older than myself. So they didn't like it when I started my business. But now I've got just enough gray hair that with the 3 daughters, I'm sure it'll get even more gray as they enter high school. And then I think that we'll hit our full stride and the publicly traded companies will take us 100% seriously. So we are trying to partner with like a Google, a Databricks, a Blackstone, some sort of publicly traded company over the next year or two. So if you're tied to one or work at one, would love to chat with them because I think our AI tools could be dispersed to a great number of people. And also our network of 30 events can serve as kind of a rails to get into the investor club family office space for a publicly traded company. And so we're trying to get we've got the attention of 2 of them. But with those types, it's a long sales cycle, to really get things to move up the ranks. So if anyone has connections there, I appreciate the help. Let's see here. We're always, yeah, awesome. Are there any more certifications available today? Yes. If you go to familyoffices.com/certifications, I believe it's plural, certifications, then you can see what certifications we offer. I'll just bring it up to make it super easy to see what we're doing there. Basically, a lot of our industry did not have like a standard training certification programs when I got started. And so like I went to go take the Kaya or the CFA and I was like, well, all I care about is hedge funds at that point. That was like in 2006, 7. I was like, so a hedge fund person has to learn all about private equity and all about commodities and all about other areas of alternatives. And I have to, at the CFA, I have to learn everything about the stock market, et cetera. And like, both respected designations, but I just wanted to learn about hedge funds. I was like, that's kind of weird. There's not one just for hedge funds. So we created the certified hedge fund professional, which you'll see down here. But we also have the certified business broker, certified business development expert, certified private equity professional, qualified family office professional, certified capital raising specialist, or you can earn several of them, 4 of them to earn your master's certificate in investments. So that's where the need for those came from. And they're practical and they're based on the talks on stage, the interviews with founders and investors, not based on theory, not based on regulatory body requirements of memorizing things. And so we really enjoyed putting these on. And at one point, we had expanded our training certification division and we had 22 certifications. And after a while, we realized, you know what? Like all of my energy is going into Family Office Club. It's really growing to the next level. Let's cut out everything that we don't think we're world class at. And we don't think we could offer the best certification on planet Earth in that niche. And we cut out all 22 except for the 6 you see here. And that's why we offer what we have. So it's trying to apply extreme focus, which is what we teach in the club and what our investors are often trying to share on stage when we interview them, et cetera. 2010, 2012. Yeah, that makes sense. We had it relatively well professionalized then compared to the first day that we launched just off the blog and a thin 2-page website or something when we first started. But yeah, Blico is great. You put your contact back on the screen. Yes, I'll do that. And I think there might be a couple more questions in the Q&A section. I'll knock those out and then we will end the webinar here. So just give me another 2 minutes and we will finish everything up. Okay, there we go. So phone number is right here. Oops. And that one works on WhatsApp, the 808 number. That's my direct mobile number. And then richard@familyoffices.com is my email address. So hope that's helpful. Let me unshare, click into one more area to see what other Q&A came up. Okay, here we go. Beyond the AI co-pilots, how are you advising offices to manage long-term risk of harvest now, decrypt later scenarios of sensitive private data? Yeah, Rafael, it's a good question. I think that one part of it is just not uploading anything that could be interpreted as part of a thought that would be seen as like a tax avoidance scheme or something that would potentially be interpreted as defrauding somebody over funds they were due or anything like that. Because sometimes you might literally be like, hey, what are the laws around this or that? Because I'm just curious, like, is this allowed? Is that allowed? Does this cross a boundary? And just word things knowing that there's some small chance that someone may read that at some point. That's my advice to them. There are ways to have a like sovereign AI locally run AI bot basically set up for yourself. There are ways to do that, but it's beyond the technical capabilities of what any family office I'm working with knows how to do. Some of the biggest of family offices will hire people to build firewall around their own private AI systems. But then at the end of the day, what you're doing is either hiring a private firm or trusting a piece of software from a firm that you don't know that well and has less to lose than Google has to lose by violating your trust, right? And so it just is kind of choosing between two things that both have some risk to them, and one takes a whole lot of money and time to implement. Maybe makes you feel better, but at the end of the day, one person leaking that data, one person with a thumb drive, one person connecting it to the internet one time, now you have maybe more risk than if you trusted like Google or someone else, right? So it's like if you really get into the nitty gritty of it, it's like, okay, well, there's still risk, right? And so I think that's part of the nature of the industry. Not related to the AI tool, but do you ever do events outside the US, Tim? Yeah. So we've done events in Singapore, Toronto, and London. We enjoyed it all those cities, but we got probably the most enjoyment out of Singapore. And there's a ton of wealth being created in Asia. I think we'll probably go back to Singapore before another place outside the United States, especially being here in Hawaii. Not too hard to get out there. And then I'm going to Australia later this year, and we'll check out some venues in Sydney while I'm there. Christopher, we're having a big event. I was just on a call with Ron Diamond, and so yeah, happy to chat with him about events, Christopher. So if you want to reach out directly, just richard@familyoffices.com. Jesse, I'm starting out and I have no experience in startups. So I want to build my own multifamily syndication fund. I have a business plan. And I'm a beginner. One thing is, if you're looking to put together a fund, we actually license our AI tools to a platform called Avestor. It's Avestor. And I'm friends with the founders, Badri and Sanjay, and they license our AI tools for their 500 funds. They have 500 different funds on their platform, basically. Some are funds of funds, some are just funds. I know they have multifamily funds on there, and they allow you to have a fund, but also allow people to invest directly into deals if you want to. And I think Sanjay worked at Intel for a decade or two, and they're from Oregon where I grew up. And so we meet up a few times a year, and they're great. So if you need a referral over to Avestor, Jesse, or maybe you're already with them, I'm happy to help with that. And then our tools should be massively helpful to you. So if someone from my team could write down Jessie Lang's name, we could follow up with her and maybe provide her with a couple of free AI tool resources and some of our PDFs, et cetera, just to get her more familiar with our club. Sarah, are these tools secure to the user, meaning we're inputting very strategic, deep knowledge in our own deals? Is the data protected from being mined or shared? I answered that before. We've unclicked the share button, so they're not supposed to be shared. Is Microsoft, is Google, is someone else, big tech, peering in on what you're doing? Perhaps, there's some mobile apps that if you're not careful are basically have permission to listen to you or could be trying to spy on you and see all of your mobile app activity or look through your camera, like crazy stuff like that. So with big tech, you always want to be careful, but we have done everything we can to make them private. When will the Hoova app be open for the summit? This is from Jack. We're actually moving away from Hoova. At least that is our plan as of today. We've tested out a new software platform that we're starting to build out for that. That should be live in time for networking for the event, but it'll be a different system than Hoova for several reasons. I think it'll be better for our community. Richard Hall has a question here. Since they're mostly GPTs, which don't have memory, where might you recommend creating a more protected knowledge vault of those results and mental models? I think that GPT is just as protected as Notebook, but it doesn't have the persistent memory. But what I found after using my own tools, like hundreds of times, is that lots of times I get the result that helps me make a decision in real time. And now that decision window is passed and I don't need to save that result. If I get something where I'm like, yes, that is a great summary of my annual goals and some nice bullet points. I do not want to lose that output from the GPT tool because that is something I need to always keep top of mind. Then I will put that on my one pager that I read every morning that I relentlessly talk about in our club and probably tired of hearing about it. But I will also send myself an email with an emoji in the subject line of it. So it pops out among the rest of my emails and it will say, yeah, my top areas of focus, read this daily. And then I'll have that snooze and pop up in my email inbox every day or multiple times a week. But most of the results I get from the GPTs, I don't need to save for later. If it's really important, I send it in an email to someone or I act on it and I move on. But maybe it's just me. But I think a private notebook LM would probably be where I would go if you do need something with persistent memory that's different. All right, I think I got through. I'm sure I missed someone's question after all of that, but I think I got through all the questions that I could see here. And I appreciate everyone's attention and time being with us here. We have a lot of fun building out these AI tools. We have fun running the club. The potential of how much your life can change, learning from family offices, decamillionaires, centimillionaires, has completely transformed my life. Like learning about strategic choke points, structuring deals, how to raise capital, how to negotiate, how to build a strategic position, how to scale a company, how to work with people that are 10x or 100x your net worth. These are like very empowering things. And when I started, I had $0. I had like basically negative net worth because my rent due per month was more than my bank account. And just by studying what the successful have done, we've been able to build our business. So that's really what keeps me motivated. And probably partially in part what motivates you. And so if you want to be around people that are optimistic, want to be ultra healthy, not just ultra wealthy, have some of the core values that we talk about here on the wall behind me, value family, values based. Some of our members are heavily faith based. Some are just values based. We don't screen based on whether you're one religion versus another, of course. But we do like focus very much on things other than money, money, money. But being very successful in business and being able to travel and eat healthy food and do fun things with your kids and other things does require money, right? So, and it's a fun challenge to continue to grow. So that's the whole point of the Investor Club. And we hope to see you at our next webinar in about a month. And also in just about 2 weeks at the Beverly Hills Investor Summit. Our room block there ends on Friday, I think is the very last day. So I would get your room block booked today or tomorrow because it's like 40% off. I think it is 40 or 60% off. I forget the exact number, but it's a massive discount on the room block that they gave us this time. So make sure and get that booked and join by going to familyoffices.com/join. And we'll see you in Beverly Hills soon, either virtually or in person. Thank you.